Right, so the new Risk of Rain 2 DLC recently just dropped, and I mean, right now it's sitting at mostly negative on Steam, which is not great. So in this video I want to just cover what the main issues are, and probably what's going to take most of this video up is my personal thoughts. Because I've got mixed opinions on this, and I think a lot of people do as well. So to start off with, the main issue, the glaring issue, the elephant in the room is the bugs, obviously. Everyone knows about this. There's countless bugs in the game. I mean, I haven't had too many. In fact, I haven't had really any at all. Just, I know that there's been enemies clipping through the ground, sound stuff not working. It's all quite clunky and all just doesn't really work properly. It's not great, not great. So yeah, I think this game really needed some more time in the oven. I think everyone thinks that. So obviously, yeah, we gotta wait until the devs patch out these bugs, because otherwise it's not great. People are quite angry, so I think we gotta fix that. Really, that's it. I mean, I've seen a lot of people have similar opinions about this game to me. So obviously this DLC came with new maps, new items, new characters, all your just standard stuff, all pretty decent to be fair. I think, well, let's just say a lot of the stuff's quite mediocre, quite mid. I mean, the new characters are alright. I actually haven't replayed any of them, but they're sort of just alright. They're not too powerful. Well, I don't actually know, but they just seem alright. New maps are just great. I think that's probably the best part about this DLC, is just the new maps are just sick. And I appreciate how they added a new stage 5. As well as Sky Meadows. Really fills out the game and makes it feel a lot fresher. The items, I saw a review on Steam saying they looked like they were out of like a scuffed item mod, and I actually have to agree with that. They do not look right. Honestly, my immediate thought was how in PVZ2, the premium plants, the newer ones, how they're sort of like almost like a different style to like the OG PVZ2 plants. It honestly reminds me of that. It just doesn't. They almost seem to have like too much detail, and they don't have the right color schemes, and they look wrong. Some look fine, but yeah. And the items themselves, they're alright. So I've heard some of the red items are better, which is good to hear, but I don't know. And yeah, but the whites, some are alright. Like there's one where if you get lower health, to be fair, the one where you get lower health increases your damage, completely did not synergize with Delicate Watch at all. Just some items, like the one where it's like using your secondary increases your primary, that's fun. That's like a good item. But like other than that, it's just, there's not really a whole lot there. They're all kind of just meh. There are also a couple of new enemies, and there are also new elites as well. And the new enemies honestly don't add a whole lot. It's like that child that runs around, it just doesn't do anything. There's like a mini boss you fight, which is pretty cool, but that's kind of it. And then there's also the little magma that does basically nothing. It's not really great compared to, well, Survivors of the Void, which added massive like Void Devastators and stuff, which were actually so cool. It's a shame, but I'm not really that critical about that. And honestly, I haven't really seen the elites either. I know there's like that gold one, that's the only one I've encountered. The other two I know happen when you loop, and I haven't tried looping it. I've heard they're not great. I saw a review that's saying they're not great. I know the gold one, all it really does is add a shield. That's what I think, at least. I actually don't know. I don't know, it just feels like a weak elite, which I guess sort of adds variety a little bit, but not really. Right, and then the last thing I want to talk about, and this is probably going to take up most of the video because I'm actually really passionate about this. There's a new route you can take where you can basically leads you up to fighting False Sun and then beating the game. Kind of similar to how they added all the void areas in Survivors of the Void. It's good. I really like the stages. Overall, the stages are just really fun. The enemies are good. It's all kind of just good. And I actually beat that earlier today. Beat that entire section. It was, oh my god, it was a lot of fun. The final boss is so fun. it's a bit meh. The final boss, like, it's good. It's kind of just good. It's not really great. It's just good. Fastest boss by far in the game, and honestly, just fills you with so much adrenaline. And honestly, just great. A lot of fun. But yeah, not really too special. And obviously, for being that, you get skins. And I actually don't know what all the new skins look like, but I get the impression they're pretty decent. That's great. The fact that they added new skins and stuff, new content. Again, just so much new content in this DLC, but just alongside it, it's just like quite mid overall. So my main criticism with this route you can take, where you go through the green portals and stuff, is to actually do it. You need either like that shrine on the first stage. I don't know if it appears on another stage, but I know it appears on the first stage. You either need that shrine on the first stage, or you need a shrine of gold, and both those are determined by luck, I think. So if you set out to do on a run, I wanna beat False Sun, and you don't get either of those, then the game can become quite difficult, and then when you eventually do get to one of those, the game will just be way too hard. Because the thing is, all endings always have ending. All final bosses, all endings, they're all you have control over when you do them. So to do Voidling, you can spend a Lunar Coin and go through the Null Portal, do that event. You go to the Void Locus, and then you go into Deep Void, and then you fight Voidling. But and you can do that whenever you want, as long as you have one Lunar Coin. If you want to Obliterate, it will always appear on stage 8, and that's consistent throughout every run. And Mithrix, you always fight him after going through the Primordial Teleporter on stage 5. So it's consistent with all runs. But this new route you can take is very inconsistent, and I actually don't know whether they've altered the Shrine of Altar of Gold chances. I don't know whether that always appears on certain stages. I'm actually not sure, but that's just my main criticism. It's just the fact that it's not consistent. And why is it that there sometimes isn't the altar on the first stage and sometimes there is? It just doesn't make sense. I actually came up with a idea that could be potentially implemented, and my idea was basically, so always have it appear on the first stage, the new altar, so that you can always access it whenever you want. But to not confuse new players, you need to either clear Mithrix or clear the Gilded Coast section in order to actually have it appear, just so it doesn't confuse new players. Because obviously, right now, if you buy the DLC, new players will get confused between, well, is the teleporter the normal way, or is the new shrine the normal way? And it's like, it just becomes confusing. Because by then, you'll be experienced enough to do it. And really, I think that it just, right now, I just feel like the whole point of it is challenge and not, see whether you're lucky enough to have it in your run. If that makes sense? I don't know, I feel like when you're messing around with luck in games like Risk of Rain 2, I mean, there's a lot of luck stuff in Risk of Rain 2, but there's also a lot of stuff that lets you control what happens. So, for example, Artifact of Command lets you pick items. The Lunar Seer, or whatever it is, lets you choose what map you have. And you can control these things and make decisions and choose when you want to do things. And this new content is all luck. It's all get lucky, I guess. And I personally don't like that. I think it needs to be changed, especially since since to fully complete the game, you need to do this 13 times. Well, actually, it's more than 13 times. But you need to do it for all characters to get all the skins and all the achievements, well, all the in-game achievements. Which kind of sucks, because I feel like there just needs to be some consistency there. And I actually don't know whether there is a way of doing anything like that. but so far I don't know. I'm a little bit confused with this new section of the game. But apart from that, I think it's good. There's also a new artifact which is pretty solid. I think it's a really unique idea. It lets you pick an item to use in your next runs. It just makes runs more special. Like doing that kind of run makes it more special because you can keep like a red item or something like that would just help you in a future run, give you a little bit of a head start. I like that idea. I really like the idea, but it can only be done if you do the false sun run, which is determined by luck. So you can see what I mean there. Going back to the items, actually, to be fair, I didn't mention this earlier, but I think they could do with a rework, maybe. Honestly depends on what people think, because right now some of them are just so mediocre, and honestly quite pathetic, some of the whites and some of the greens. There's one green item I actually really don't like. I think it's better to not pick it at all, and it's like the necklace that keeps your XP and turns it into stats when you lose it, because leveling up is so important in Risk of Rain 2, and you're just taking that away just for like a Mithrix fight or a scrap, and it's just like a bit pointless. I think it's only really good until you're like really late into the game. So actually going into more detail with the maps, I do like them. My only complaint is I'm not a massive fan of the layouts of some of the maps. Like I like big open maps like Titanic Plains, because it's quite easy to spot items and quite easy to get stuff done, while the new maps are quite, got a lot of levels, got a lot of layers, got a lot of, nooks and crannies, if you sort of get what I mean. That doesn't really matter. I mean, there's maps like that already in the game before any of the DLCs were added, I guess. I guess what I'm saying there is, on the one hand, we've got some variety, but on the other hand, I'm just not a massive fan of the layouts, but I think I'll get used to them. It's not really anything bad. I mean, there's some great maps that are big and open, like the forest map, which is really cool. That's on the green portal route. Alright, so now I'm going to finally talk about the music, which is probably the best part about this DLC, and the reason for that is it's so good. It's so good. I love the Risk of Rain 2 music. Chris is actually just cooked once again. It's just phenomenal, honestly. I listened to the soundtrack the other day and I immediately bought it on Steam. Honestly, there are 3 tracks that are quite similar, but honestly, listening to them again yesterday, they're actually not really that similar. It's like there's 3 parts to the same track, but it's just, yeah, honestly, Final Boss theme really good, and just in general the soundtrack's good. Maybe not as strong as Survivors of the Void. I think Survivors of the Void is probably the best soundtrack in my opinion. To be fair, Risk of Rain 1 soundtrack's actually alright as well. Honestly, they're all really good, but I think this might be the weakest soundtrack, but also I'm in love with it. It's crazy. That just goes to show how good the music is. Right, so I think I'm gonna conclude. I don't think I have anything else really to say. This video is quite long. Basically, just the main issue is bugs and the fact that there's just a lot of the content's mediocre. Like the items are mediocre. The characters are. I don't personally think the characters are that bad. I think as long as the character's fun, I think that's fine. And I get the impression that some of these characters are quite fun. So characters are alright. All the new maps are great. Music's phenomenal. Yeah, items are mid. Enemies are mid. It's just very. Some stuff is good. Some stuff is not so good. Very mixed. Not consistently good like Survivors of the Void, but just sort of quite varied. Which I guess probably isn't that good. And yeah, honestly, just my main criticism is just maybe make the new route more consistent. Just have it easy to access and not based on luck. Even if they just put like a separate lunar seer in the bazaar, just so you can pay like 3 lunar coins and then get easy access to it. Just something like that. Even then, just will fix that problem. So overall, does it deserve mostly negative? No. I think it deserves a mix, which is how it was the other day, but now it's gone to mostly negative, which I think is a little bit unfair. I think that when they fix the bugs, they fix up the game, I think then it's gonna go back to maybe being positive, mostly positive, but until then it's gonna stay at mostly negative. So if you were looking for a review, should you buy this game, this DLC? Probably. I think so. I think it's more content, and I think more content is good. I think obviously if you're playing Risk of Rain for the first time, obviously play the base game and then play Survivors of the Void and then play the new DLC, and hopefully by the time you've got the hang of the first two, you should... The devs should have fixed this and you should be able to play it bug-free. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. I don't normally make videos like this, and if you enjoyed, make sure to drop a subscribe. And yeah, just have a good day. I will see you next time.